Executive Director of the UIC Study Abroad Office. And this week we have been doing a series of virtual events that we're calling Your Major Abroad, where we talk about study abroad opportunities for different disciplines and majors across campus. And so this session is for the College of Engineering. So hopefully you are in the right place. Before I begin our presentation, I just want to share a little bit more about myself so you know who you're speaking with today. So I actually had the good fortune to study abroad my first time as a student in high school, where I traveled to France as a member of my high school's French club. And to say it changed my life is obviously a vast understatement. I remember in high school, I was contemplating what I wanted to study in college, and then I had this incredible study abroad experience in France. And I came back knowing I wanted to declare a double major in French and international affairs. So that's what I did at my alma mater. And while an undergrad, I ended up studying abroad 3 times, 2 times on a short-term program in Paris, and then 1 time doing an internship at the British Parliament in London. So I know firsthand how incredible a study abroad experience can be. I'm just thrilled that you have taken on one of the first steps to look into possibly including a study abroad experience as part of your collegiate career. So with that, we will go ahead and get started. So we'll be covering quite a bit of information today, as you can see. We'll start with some high-level overview information about how study abroad works at UIC and the benefits. We're going to discuss the different types of programs that we have here at UIC, a little bit about academics abroad, as well as some specialized types of programs that you can do, such as internships, service learning, and research. We'll certainly talk about the application process and funding resources. I know that's always a big question for students. And then we'll end with some program highlights specific for students in the College of Engineering. So with that, let's go ahead and move on. And I like to start with just a little way, since we're virtually, a little way to engage everyone. So if you could throw up, either put your camera on and throw up a thumbs up if any of these statements resonate with you, or feel free to put the emoji up, but give me a thumbs up if you have ever traveled abroad. It doesn't have to be study abroad, but if you've ever traveled abroad. All right, excellent. I've seen some thoughts. Feel free to put in the chat some countries that you visited. I'd love to see what our global footprint has been. Next, give me a thumbs up if you speak a language other than English. As a linguist at heart, I always love to see when students have an interest in learning languages. Again, you can use your chat to put an emoji in, turn your cam on if you're comfortable, and give a thumbs up. Let me go ahead and make my cameras bigger so I can see everyone. There we go. All right. How about a thumbs up if you feel strongly about a major global issue? I know it's hard not to these days, right? Good, I see thumbs going up everywhere. Love that. How about if you want to gain new perspectives? I imagine as young college students, this is probably everyone. Excellent, excellent. Give a moment for those to go down. Okay. How about a thumbs up if you want to participate in opportunities such as an internship, a research project, or service learning? Good, good. I'm definitely going to mention some of those opportunities today. And as engineering students, I know particularly research can be very attractive. How about a thumbs up if you enjoy interacting with others from diverse backgrounds? Great, and we are fortunate to live in the wonderful city of Chicago, where it's easy to do this, and also to be at a school like UIC that has such a diverse student body. So why not take that one step further and go abroad, right? Then lastly, a thumbs up if you want to study abroad. Maybe you already know, maybe this is something you've been dreaming about like me when I was thinking about going to college. Awesome, awesome. I see a lot of people know that they want to study abroad, and so you are in the right place. Well, thank you for indulging me in that activity. It's just a nice way to know there's people on the other side of the screen. So I appreciate you participating. But let's get started with the information. So first, I always like to start off by just thinking a little bit about why studying abroad might be beneficial to you as college students. And I'm sure since you all decided to come to this presentation today, you have some ideas. So feel free to put in your own reasons in the chat about why you are thinking study abroad would be important. But here's some of the things we think are important. So I like to break it up into three buckets. The first, there are some personal benefits. As you see here, I talk about how it can help you increase self-confidence. And I know for me, when I was a high school student, I was that type of student who was super shy. I sat in the back of the classroom, didn't really talk much. And then suddenly, after I had my first study abroad program in France, I came back much more confident in myself and what I had to offer. And it was something about knowing that I could travel so far away from home and be okay that really helped instill that confidence in me. It also can help you develop this idea of intercultural competency, which is the ability to interact with others from different cultural backgrounds than yourself. Can provide clarity to some goals that you might have. Again, from my personal story, it helped clarify what I actually wanted to study at college. And it helps you discover new interests and passions. So just a few of the personal benefits you might get. Then moving on, you can also think of study abroad as giving you some professional benefits. So study abroad has the potential to help you develop what we call transferable or soft skills. And what this means, these are job skills that are applicable across almost any industry, such as communication, teamwork, leadership, etc. Studying abroad can also help you expand your professional network, especially if you're smart when you go abroad and if you set up informational interviews with employers who work at companies you might be interested in, or even just meeting young students like yourself, that helps you start to expand your professional network. And then, of course, you can gain real world work experience by interning or conducting research abroad. And again, we'll talk a little bit about that today. With regards to professional benefits, I also always like to ask this little trivia question. And if you've attended some other presentations, you might know the answer, but go ahead and put in the chat your guess. What percentage of US undergraduate students studies abroad? Let's go ahead and put some guesses in the chat. Let's see what you think. All right, I see some correct answers already, so that tells me you all know your study abroad. The answer is 10%. So only 1 out of every 10 US college students studies abroad. So I don't know about you, but when I first learned that statistic, I was shocked. And what we know is that actually 90% of entering freshmen each year say they want to study abroad. So clearly there are some obstacles or reasons why more students aren't pursuing this. And that's why we're here to help you. But because so few students study abroad, professionally speaking, studying abroad can actually be a really valuable way to help you set yourself apart in a competitive job market. So if you're trying to pitch this to your parents, that might be one thing you can talk about, right? It's something you can put on your resume and you can talk about with future employers in an interview setting. Lastly, of course, it's called study abroad. So we want to talk about some of the academic benefits you can get. Of course, you can add an international or comparative dimension to your degree. And certainly as budding engineers, I'm sure you all can appreciate how international many engineering firms actually are and how something like this could really add that international context to your studies. But on all of our programs, you also earn UIC credit while living and studying in another country. So this is not going to be transfer credit. You won't have to worry about transferring it in. The credit you earn on any one of our programs will be counted towards your graduation requirements and degree plan and GPA. And then lastly, it helps you understand alternative ideas and solutions to issues within your discipline. Of course, there's a lot of great things that the US is known for in terms of our engineering know-how, but when you travel abroad and get to work with engineers from other countries, you start to understand and appreciate the way in which they solve problems, and you can take that and add that to your tool belt and bring it back, and that gives you just more ways to think outside the box and solve the problems of your practice. So again, I know many of you probably have your own reasons for wanting to study abroad, but I hope that's helpful in explaining why this is such a valuable investment to your collegiate career. All right, so let's unpack these benefits a little bit further, specifically for students of engineering. So these are just some thoughts I put together. As a side, my brother is an engineer and he did not have the opportunity to study abroad when he was in college, but afterwards he did get to travel for work abroad, and he said a lot of these same things. So One, that international experience helps you prepare for an international career. As I already explained, many large engineering firms have a global presence. And in my brother's case, his firm actually had a lot of manufacturing plants and partners in China. So every year he was being sent to China. And how helpful would it have been for him to have had a study abroad experience to give him that exposure and practice in interacting with people from other cultures? Next, it can help you learn new approaches to solving problems. And although I'm not an engineer, I can appreciate that that's a big part of what it is you all are tasked with doing, is figuring out how to solve very complex problems. And anytime you push yourself outside of your comfort zone and get exposed to new ways of doing things, that can only serve to give you, again, more tools with which to approach your problems. Thirdly, it can help you improve communication skills and other transferable skills. And as I was doing some research to prepare for this presentation, I came across some articles that talked about the stereotype of how sometimes engineers maybe are more shy or reserved or don't have as strong as social skills as some other majors. I don't know how true that is, because I think there's so many students who study engineering who don't fall into that. But at the very least, studying abroad can help you work on those communication skills and shatter that stereotype. And as I already mentioned, it can also help you with the development of other transferable skills that employers are interested in. Next, you gain exposure to working across cultural differences that will serve you well in diverse settings. And so no matter the profession, I'd say this is true for every student. Even if you think you're going to work in the United States and not work abroad after you graduate, our workplaces have become increasingly diverse, and employers really value students who have demonstrated experience in working with people from different backgrounds. And so again, study abroad is a fantastic vehicle for that. And lastly, as I already mentioned, studying abroad can help you to set yourself apart in a competitive job market, and so few students do it. And then you see on the screen, I did pull a quote that explains how engineers are becoming increasingly expected to combat the world's most dynamic and complex challenges, and various important scientific and engineering organizations, as listed here, agree that it is imperative that universities graduate students who are globally prepared. And our employers are asking for this. So if you do study abroad, make sure that you reference it on your resume and in your future interviews. All right, well, that's enough about benefits of study abroad. Let's talk about some specifics to study abroad here at UIC. So first, the study abroad office is located on the 5th floor of University Hall, and we'd love to see you. We are back to being in person, so you can stop by. We are a small but mighty team, as you can see, of 5 of us. We each advise for a different portfolio of programs based on regions of the world. So who you will talk to will depend on where you want to go. And all that information about which countries we each advise for can be found on our website here. I will make sure that you get a copy of these slides so that way you can reference these links later. And in addition, you can actually make an appointment to speak with any of us through iAdvise. So hopefully you all are familiar with iAdvise. You can just search study abroad, and then each one of us has a profile for you to schedule an appointment with. We have all lived, studied, and worked abroad, and we love talking to students about international travel and study abroad. So please feel comfortable in making an appointment with us, because we'd love to chat with you about your goals. So you might be asking, where in the world can you go through UIC Study Abroad? And as this map is hopefully showing you, we have many, many programs. We have roughly over 200 programs across 55 countries around the world. So I hope that no matter where you're interested in going, we can connect you to an appropriate opportunity. Now, I wanted to briefly provide an overview about the types of study abroad programs we run. We have 3 main types. Don't worry about remembering this. It's really just meant to give you a rough overview. All of this information is on our website for you to reference later. The first type of program is what we call faculty-directed programs, and these are short-term programs typically offered during the summer or academic breaks, such as spring break, and they are led by UIC faculty members. So you would be traveling with a group of UIC students and UIC professors somewhere around the world. The coursework you take is UIC courses taught by the UIC faculty member, and everything is pre-planned. So I like to say these are a really great program model for students who maybe haven't done much personal travel on their own abroad and like the idea of having a full support network with them as they study abroad. Second, in the middle here are what we call our partnership programs. And this is where we partner with study abroad organizations all around the world. and they offer the chance for US college students to come study at their study centers. Sometimes they also partner with local universities in the host country, and that would mean you also have the opportunity to take some classes at the host institution as well. A nice aspect about partnership programs is that they typically have a full array of staff on site who are there to support you no matter what comes up, such as registering for classes, or if you encounter some cultural hiccups or culture shock, working through that, or if some sort of emergency happens, you have that on-site support staff to help you. And then with partnership programs, there is a course equivalency process we help you with. And all this means is that you would look at the courses offered at the partner, figure out what you want to take, and then we work with you on a course approval form and have your advisor review those courses and sign off and let you know what UIC credit those courses count for. So again, you don't need to stress about that. That's all part of the application process, and we'll support you through that. The last type of program is what we call exchange programs. And this is what I think many students first think about when they think of study abroad. These programs are more long-term. They're offered during a semester or for a full academic year. And this is where we partner with universities around the world, and it allows you to go study at that university and be an international student for a semester or for a year. And in return, they send a student in your place. So it's a one-to-one exchange. One of the nice things about these programs is the financial model is very easy to understand because you just pay your regular UIC tuition to participate on an exchange program. So whatever you pay here at UIC is what you would pay to go on an exchange program. Now, you do then have to make sure you budget for your housing abroad and all your personal expenses, such as your activity money, food, but at least you know your tuition would be the same rate as it is here. On an exchange program, you would be taking classes with local students, and usually it would be in the host language. So if you're going to a country where English is not the native language, you probably would want to be proficient in the native language. Although some of our exchange partners do have limited course offerings in English as well. Another nice thing about exchange programs is that typically you can take advantage of the entire course catalog at the partner university. So students often find that there are many course options that they need for their major on an exchange program. Again, I know that's a lot of information. We will, it's all on our website and we can help you in advising appointments, but I just wanted you to know there are different types of programs as you begin researching what you might like to do. Here's another chart that kind of walks you through some of the differences between programs. If just as an example, if you look over here at exchanges, they do not tend to be short-term, as I mentioned, they're semester or year long. On faculty-directed programs, for instance, you typically aren't taking classes at a local university because you're taking classes from the faculty member. And again, this chart will be available to you in our slides when I send that to you, in case you'd like to reference it further. All right, well, since it's called Study Abroad, we should talk a little bit about the academic experience and some key tips here. First, it's important that you know that all credit you earn will count towards your GPA and graduation requirements. I know another myth students sometimes have is that studying abroad might delay them for graduation. And I know for engineers, with how packed your academic schedule is, that's a big concern. But again, all of our programs allow you the opportunity to earn UIC credit. As long as you're planning early enough in advance, you will be able to find a program that gets you the courses that you need to stay on track for graduation. It also means that you need to take your study abroad experience very seriously, because the grades you earn abroad will come back and affect your GPA here. As I mentioned, there is a course approval process, and all that means again is that you'll identify the courses you want to take abroad, and then you'll work with us and your academic advisor to figure out what UIC credits will count, those will count for. And then differences in academics abroad. I want to spend a couple minutes unpacking this. So just like you might expect when you travel abroad, there's going to be different ways that students abroad learn and how professors teach. And as some examples, I've had some students who studied abroad in some Asian countries share that sometimes their professors there adopt more of a lecture style. And then on the exams, students are expected to replicate verbatim that information. So it might be less discussion based than what we're used to here and less asking you your thoughts, and instead you're expected to study and memorize the notes and lectures from your professors and repeat that on the exam. Of course, that's a generalization, but just something some of our students have shared. Conversely, another example in the United Kingdom, a lot of times universities there do not have a lot of smaller assignments throughout the semester, and instead you're just expected to attend class, take notes, and then you take one big exam at the end, and that's what your grade is based on. So again, some students can find that surprising, but it's just good to know that part of the experience of studying abroad is embracing these academic differences and learning a new way of learning. And the good news is we do a pre-departure orientation for every student, so we try our best to prepare you for what these differences might be. And lastly, I think the hallmark of study abroad, and one of the reasons it's so exciting to me, is it's a very experiential way of learning. And what that means is rather than just being stuck in a classroom and reading, you're going to be out and about interacting with the host culture and locals. A lot of times programs include social cultural field trips and excursions that bring to life what it is you're studying. So for instance, you might have guided museum visits. You might go out of class one day and do a service learning project, but we're very much concerned with making sure you're getting out of the classroom and connected to the local culture. And I think a lot of students have shared that that just is a really helpful way to learn, because a lot of us learn better by doing, right? Rather than just simply reading and regurgitating. All right, so as I've already hinted, you can do more than just study abroad, meaning you can do more than just take classes. We have several programs that allow you to add an internship, a research project, or service learning. So I want to talk a little bit about each one of these. With our internship abroad programs, what we do is put you with one of our partner programs, and they talk to you about your career goals and interests. And then they go out in their international networks and actually find you a tailored internship placement. So you don't have to worry about finding your internship placement. They'll do that for you. Every partner that we work with has the ability to find English speaking internships. So if you don't have foreign language skills, no worries, you can still participate. Although if you do have some foreign language skills, that will increase the opportunities you have. Sorry, did someone have a question? Nope, okay, we'll keep going. And then lastly, potentially you can earn academic credit for internship. One important thing to note is that most international internships are unpaid because of strict work visa requirements. So one of the benefits of doing an internship abroad is that you can earn academic credit that may count towards your degree plan. All right, for research programs, we have many programs that allow you to do undergraduate research, and potentially we can also work to find some graduate level opportunities. If you are an undergraduate student, participating in undergraduate international research would be fantastic, especially if you're thinking about applying to graduate school down the road. It's similar to the internship programs in that we connect you with our partners, and they can work with you to understand what research interests you have, and then connect you with labs abroad and research teams abroad, so that way you get to work on an international research project. And this can be a great way for you to have an early exploration of an area of inquiry, or you could even pursue an independent study project and get some credit that way. If you're in the honors college, you might also be able to use your research abroad project to count towards your capstone requirements. And then lastly, we talk about service learning or volunteering abroad. And I love that a lot of the current generation of students really are concerned with giving back to their host community and doing good. And so many of our programs have built-in opportunities to do this. And this is the idea of engaging and giving back to your host community. There are some concerns, of course, whenever we talk about service learning. You want to make sure you're engaged in an ethical project that meets the needs of the community. And the good news is that we work with partners who are experts in international service learning projects and are working with their local on-site partners to make sure they're sourcing ethical and responsible projects. You may be able to earn credit for doing a service learning project. It oftentimes depends on how long it is. Sometimes students are able to work with their advisors to get this to count as independent study credit, for example. And it's just an all-around fantastic way to immerse yourself in the local culture and work alongside host nationals. All right, Because of the pandemic, we have had study abroad paused because international travel hasn't been advised at the moment. Just for your information, we have set October 15th as the date by when we'll decide if spring study abroad can resume. I'm very hopeful with vaccinations that we will be able to slowly start reopening more countries. Although study abroad has been paused, we actually do have 5 students studying in South Korea right now because South Korea has been on the whole pretty safe in terms of the pandemic. But one thing the pandemic did cause us to do was to work with partners to bring on board virtual international internships. So if you can't travel abroad, but you're still interested in getting international experience, this might be something that's interesting to you. In much the same way as the traditional in-person international internship, the way this works is you would work with one of our partners. Again, they would talk with you about your career goals and interests, and then they would find a virtual internship with you at a company based abroad. And you would then work with that company just like kind of we've been the past 18 or so months. You would probably have a lot of asynchronous projects that you could do on your own time. Occasionally, you might be asked to be on a Zoom call like this with your team abroad or have some supervisor calls. But in addition to giving you that intercultural international experience, it allows you to gain some remote work experience. And I believe that remote work is going to be here for many, many years to come. So this would be, again, something that's valuable for you to have on your resume. So again, these internships are tailored to you and your goals. They can be found for English speaking positions. And a lot of times the internship is paired with this global workforce seminar or class. And what this class does is it helps you understand your new host culture that you're working in, and you have a safe place to learn from other interns. And if you encounter any roadblocks, that's again, a safe place for you to unpack those and just reflect on your overall experience and think through the skills that you're developing. A lot of these virtual internship programs also include a suite of professional development opportunities, such as giving you a personal career coach to help you plan for after graduation in your career, or intercultural seminars. And a lot of them give you a report at the end of your internship showing you what skills you did really well in and where there might be opportunities for growth. So this is an excellent way to gain international experience while travel is paused. Okay, so if you decide you'd like to apply to a program, here is a short summary of the process. The first step is actually to attend a first step presentation, and this gives you an overview of the study abroad process here at UIC. You can either watch this at your own time online, or you can attend one in person or via Zoom. And all the details about our first step presentations are available on our website. The next is to make sure you know application deadlines. Every program has its own application deadline. As a general rule of thumb, if you're interested in going abroad in the spring, the deadline tends to fall around mid-October. And if you're interested in going abroad for a summer or fall, you're going to be looking to apply around mid-March. Some programs do have earlier deadlines, especially like our internship programs, for instance. So the best thing to do is to consult our website for the program you're interested in and check the deadline. Then, of course, you want to make sure you're eligible to go on the program you're interested in. Again, in general, our eligibility requirements are that you have to have completed at least 12 credits here at UIC and be in good academic standing with the university. But some programs do have, for instance, a GPA requirement. Some do have course prereqs. So the best thing to do is just to, again, look at the program page for what the program you're interested in and check those eligibility criteria. Then, of course, you have to choose the program you want to go on, and we have a brand new program search feature on our website that can help you do that. And if there's time at the end, I'll show you where you can find that. But once you choose your program, then you'll know who your study abroad advisor is, and you can make an appointment with them to learn more and talk about the specific program application. And then that's your last step. Last step is actually applying to the program. Again, we are introducing a brand new application system. So the application process will be entirely online now. And I'll show you how you can access that towards the end of the application. Right, here's just a little word about our brand new program search database and application system we're calling the Flames Abroad portal. You can access it by going to this link or going to our homepage and clicking explore programs in the middle here, and that will take you to our program search. And this has a lot of ways you can start to narrow down the programs you might be interested in. After you find one and you've started an application, to come back and log in, all you do is come to this page and go to the top right and log in with your UIC credentials. So again, this is our new Flames Abroad portal. Okay, I want to talk a lot about funding because I know this is typically the #1 concern students have. So I want to make sure if there's nothing else you remember from my presentation today, it's that there are many resources to help you afford study abroad. So don't let funding be a reason you don't come talk to us. So first, you see this graph on the left here, and I put it here because I think a lot of times students have this perception that studying abroad costs more than it does to study at UIC. And so when I first arrived at UIC last year, one of the very first things I did was I took the data and I wanted to see if it was true. And if you look at this chart, what we learned from the data is that this column represents the average in-state cost for an in-state student. And when we say cost, we're talking about the total cost of attendance. So this means your tuition, your books and supplies, your housing, your food, personal spending money. So everything that you need to budget for a semester at UIC. This graph right here, this bar right here represents the average low study abroad cost. So as you see, we have programs below $10,000 total cost of attendance for a semester. So that's programs that are cheaper than what it costs to study here at UIC. Well, what about if you're not in state? Well, that's what this bar shows. So if you're an out-of-state student, as you can see, our average mid-price program is just over $15,000 for a semester, which is still cheaper than the average semester cost for an out-of-state student. So although we do have a few programs that cost a little bit more than this, I hope you're encouraged to know that we do have programs that are close to the same cost as what you would pay to UIC or even cheaper. But that being aside, I know affording study abroad is still a very real concern. And so we have a number of resources to help you pay for study abroad. The first is that every one of our program pages has its own cost sheet. And this spells out how much you need to budget for the program and what you would be charged, what's included, what's not included. And you can use these cost sheets as a way to shop around for programs, but also as a tool to explore how you can use financial aid to study abroad. So first, if you have a FAFSA on file, the good news is, yes, you can use financial aid to help afford studying abroad. Typically, whatever aid you get will easily apply on a semester program. If you want to go abroad over the summer, you can still use financial aid. However, your summer aid is typically tied to your fall and spring. So just be careful. If you want to go abroad in the summer, try and see if you can save some of your fall and spring aid for your summer, okay? We have a really great colleague in the financial aid office. Her name is Hua Kao, and I'll go ahead and put her name into the chat, but it's also on our website. Put her email in there too. There you go. And she is the designated financial aid representative who works with students who want to study abroad to discuss your financial aid package. So definitely make sure you speak with her after you found a program of interest. A good thing to do is to print off that cost sheet, make sure your FAFSA is on file, and then go meet with Hua. After you've explored your financial aid, then we like to talk about scholarships. And there are lots and lots of scholarships for study abroad. First, our office has a number of scholarships that you could apply for, so make sure you check those out. They're on our website, but also in the university scholarship database, which is SNAP. Then some departments on campus have their own study abroad scholarships. I know, for instance, the Honors College does, the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences does. I don't believe the College of Engineering yet has a study abroad scholarship, but you should definitely ask your advisor about other scholarships, because if you receive a scholarship to help you pay for a future semester here at UIC, then that's more aid you can allocate towards your study abroad experience. Past departmental scholarships, then we start looking at nationally competitive scholarships, and there are so many of these. Again, we list them on our website. One of the really important ones we're going to talk about in a minute is Gilman's. So if you receive a Pell Grant, make sure you pay attention to that. We do help prepare your applications for these nationally competitive scholarships. So don't feel like you have to go it alone. We can review your essays, we can give you tips. So definitely make sure you're meeting with us if you're going to go after one of those. And then additionally, many of our program partners I mentioned have their own scholarships. So for instance, if you're going to go on a CEA program, CEA often has their own scholarships. And some of our partners even have automatic discounts just because you're a UIC student. So make sure that if you're interested in a partnership program, you ask your advisor about any discounts or partner scholarships. And the good news about scholarships is that you can stack, meaning if you're eligible for 5 scholarships, you should apply for all of them because you can pool those together and use them all to help you afford studying abroad. Another good thing is that many of these scholarship applications ask very similar essay questions. So once you work on one really strong essay, you can often use that for multiple scholarship applications. And then lastly, we talk about community-based funding because we know, although we wish a student could apply for a single scholarship that would pay for their whole program, we know that's often not the case. And so you'll probably have to raise some of your own funds. And so we have a resource page on our website that talks about how you could actually tap into your own networks and raise some money. Students have been really successful with this idea of crowdsource funding. And so we have some tips on how to do an effective crowdsource funding campaign. I gave a funding presentation yesterday that we have a recording of on our website. So if you'd like to learn more about that, go back to the Your Majors Abroad webpage that you used to get to this event, and you can find that recording there. We'll also offer that workshop in the future as well. All right, so I mentioned one extremely important scholarship. So again, if you receive a Pell Grant, please pay attention. You should apply for this scholarship. UIC students have been extremely competitive in earning this scholarship. So there's 2 scholarships associated with Gilman. The first is the Gilman International Scholarship. And as you see, again, this is for Pell Grant recipients. The second is the Gilman McCain Scholarship. And this is a newer one that's for child dependents of active duty military service members. So if your mom or dad serves in the military, then you could apply for the Gilman McCain. These awards are up to $5,000 or $8,000 if you're studying what's called a critical need language, which are foreign languages deemed important by the US Department of State. We are currently in an active Gilman application cycle. So if you are interested in studying abroad between December 1st of this year and October 31st of next year, then you would want to try and apply for Gilman by October 5th. We do have a Gilman information session this afternoon in person in the Study Abroad office. So if you're around campus and want to come, it's 4 o'clock, University Hall, 5th floor. We're also offering a session on the 15th virtually, so you can check that out on our website. And I'll show you again at the end of the presentation where you can go to sign up for that. Otherwise, if you want to go abroad on a program that's between May of next year and April of 2023, you have a second shot to apply by March 1st. A big part of the Gilman application includes a couple of essays that you have to write. And the students who win the scholarship typically work with our office. So if you're going to go after Gilman, please make sure that you set up an appointment with us because we can help you on your essays. In addition to making an appointment with us, though, we are offering some writing workshops. And so at these workshops, we will actually help you get started writing your essays. That way you have a good framework to finish your essays. A big part about Gilman too is diversity. And when we think about diversity and study abroad, we think about many things, not just racial and ethnic diversity, although that counts, but LGBTQIA students are diverse in study abroad, students with disabilities, non-traditional age students, engineering students, so all of you, this counts, are considered underrepresented in study abroad. So that's one very competitive thing you have going for you already. If you're the first in your family to go to college, that makes you diverse in the eyes of Gilman. So this writing workshop will also help you begin to think about some of your identities and how to write about that in the essay. So these workshops are coming up on the 16th and the 23rd, and they're being offered virtually. And again, you can sign up for these off the homepage of our website. All right, I will glide by this slide, but make sure you read it when I send the slides. I think it's just always nice to give you some testimonials from actual UIC students who studied abroad. So you see here we have some students who went to Italy, Spain, and China. But again, you can read these on your own time. And now, one of the more exciting parts of the presentation, I think. Let's talk a little bit about some programs that are great fits for engineering students. Before I dive in, though, I want you to know this is not an exhaustive list. We have, again, over 200 programs, so don't feel like these are the only programs for you. But I just wanted to give you an idea of the options you have as engineering students. So first, what we're looking at are the partnership programs. And again, this is where we work with partners around the world who you can go study with. So you see here, we have St. Louis University based in Madrid, which this is that picture. If you've not been, it's a beautiful European capital city. And they offer coursework in aerospace, biomedical, electrical, computer, chemical, mechanical engineering, and physics. And this is offered through our partner, St. Louis University. They have their own campus in Madrid. Next, KEI is a small study abroad partner who has study centers around the world. And they partner with London South Bank University, who has some coursework in English, you see, or excuse me, in engineering. You see they offer computer science and information technology systems, electrical and electronic engineering, mechanical engineering, and product design. So if you want to go to London, this might be a good one to look into. We have another program in Madrid through our partner CEA, and they work with a very, very famous Madrid institution that's well known for engineering called Universidad Carlos III de Madrid. And this program offers over 100 STEM courses in areas such as aerospace, bioengineering, computer technology, electrical and energy engineering, and mechanical engineering. CEA also has a study center in Prague. So if you wanted to go to the Czech Republic, they have some engineering and math courses at this center. Admittedly, there's not a ton right now, but this is a program that they are going to be developing more courses for over time. DIS is a partner who specializes in programs in Scandinavian countries. And so they have an engineering program based in Stockholm, Sweden. And you see that they offer you the chance to choose a core course focused in biomedical engineering or engineering sustainable environments. And then you would pick from 48 disciplines for some electives. And the last partnership program I'm calling out is through our partner ISA. They have a STEM, social sciences and liberal arts program in Seoul. I know that South Korea has become very, very popular for UIC students. This is a brand new partnership program that we have on the books to address that need. So hopefully some of you would be interested in looking into this. But they are partnered with Korea University based in Seoul. And Korea University offers a rich variety of coursework in STEM fields taught in English. So you don't even have to know Korean to be able to participate on this program. Although hopefully when you go, you would pick up a Korean course or two. So hopefully that gets you excited about some possibilities. Again, this is not an exhaustive list. All right, to transition a little bit, exchange programs. Again, this is where you would go study as an international student for a semester or year at a foreign university. These are some of our exchange partners who have a decent engineering offering. So we have Cardiff University, Wales, United Kingdom. We have the École Polytechnique de Montréal in Canada. The Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, which is based in Melbourne, Australia. We have our strategic partner in Mexico, Tec de Monterrey. They have a lot of good STEM courses and they have multiple campuses throughout Mexico. And then University College Dublin is the premier STEM university in Ireland. So they have a robust course offering for students as well. All right, so sadly, we don't currently have any engineering specific faculty directed programs, but I have been in touch with you guys' new associate dean, Dr. Koch, and she is very interested in developing some new programs. So if you are a first year or second year student, I would definitely advise you to stay in touch with our office because hopefully by summer 2023 and beyond, we'll have some new faculty directed programs for you. But in the interim, I did call out one program that may be of interest. It is a new program called Summer in Ireland, Dublin Internships, Professional Presence, and Improvisational Theater Abroad. And you might be asking me, Kyle, what does a theater program have to do with engineering students? So let me tell you. This program is being led by two faculty members from the College of Business here, and they specialize in teaching students how to use theater techniques and improv to establish a professional presence and how to interact in the workplace, no matter what discipline you're in. And the linchpin of this program is the internship component. So they're working with a partner based in Dublin who can, again, find you a tailored internship. So if you're an engineering student, they can help you find an engineering internship and then you take this class with the business faculty and learn some techniques for how to be a great professional in the workplace. So we could work with you and your engineering advisor to see if this program might count for you. So again, I just wanted to give you at least one option to consider for faculty directed, since we are working on developing engineering specific ones. All right, well, I hope I piqued your interest a little bit today. I know it was a ton of information. So again, we will send you the recording and slides, but for your next steps, here's what we've got outlined. So very, very important, especially if you're thinking of wanting to go abroad next year, apply for your passport. Because of the pandemic, processing times have greatly increased to as much as 3 months. So it's very important that you check your passport's expiration date and make sure it's going to be valid, or if you don't have one, that you get started. Next, speak with your academic advisor. This is especially important for engineering students. The earlier you talk with your advisor about studying abroad, the much better chance you're going to have at finding a program that will help you stay on track to graduate. The 2 questions you want to ask your advisor are, what's the best semester or summer for me to consider? And what coursework should I be looking to take abroad? Once we have that information, we can help you find a program that hopefully will fit for you. So again, talk with your advisor sooner rather than later. Then of course, attend our first step presentation, get on our website and start researching programs and funding resources. Once you've found a program you're interested in, then schedule an appointment with the advisor through iAdvise, and then apply for your program by the deadline. All right, so that's what I prepared for you. The rest of our time we'll have open for questions, but real quick, I want to make sure you know how to get in touch with us. This is our general inbox. Our study abroad advisor, Maggie, staffs this, so you can reach out with any questions. Here's our website. Please follow our Instagram. Apart from having good information about scholarships and programs, a lot of our alumni share their pictures, and it's just a great way to get a feel for what the study abroad experience is like. As I mentioned, we're on the 5th floor of University Hall, and here's our phone number. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment, and before we jump on the website to give you a quick tour, I'm just going to see if anyone has questions. So feel free to put those in the chat, or you're welcome to unmute yourself and ask aloud.
I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
After talking with our major advisor, could we reach out to a study abroad advisor specifically and start talking with them about the program?
Absolutely. Yeah. So one thing I didn't mention is that if you want some help kind of exploring programs, you can make an appointment with Maggie. She's kind of our first step advisor. And so you could either email us at that SAO email address to set up an appointment, or she's available on iAdvise. But she's a great advisor if you need help kind of using our program search and discussing program options.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
And then I have another question.
Yes,
so please. I guess what I'm worried about going into study abroad is studying here at UIC, I really like it because there's a lot of communities I could study with, making study groups and going to tutoring sessions and TA sessions. I really appreciate the TA office hours and professor office hours.
Yeah.
I was wondering what that would be like if you're studying abroad.
It's a fantastic question. And so that's where I go back to this notion of our different program types. So on a faculty directed program and partnership program, I'd say those might be really good models for you to look at, because you have on a faculty directed program, of course, the direct support from the faculty member who's with you. It's a very great way to actually build that relationship with the faculty member. And of course, they're available during the program to do some tutoring with you, or if you're having trouble with some concepts, work with you. But if you want to go on a partnership program, remember, they also have staff there. They have student affairs staff, just like we do at UIC. They have advisors you can meet with. And a lot of times, especially for STEM programs, because we know the curriculum is difficult, they'll even have labs or tutoring hours available. So that's another good model. Exchange programs, they may have some of those resources available. It really depends on the university. Some countries don't have the same student affairs approach that we do in the United States, so they might not have tutoring hours or centers per se, but other countries and universities do. So it's just going to depend on the institution. So I'd say if you're concerned about that, maybe start by looking at partnership or faculty directed. But if you find an exchange program, let's talk with the advisor, Crystal. She advises for exchanges and she can kind of help you research if there's tutoring resources. But great question. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No
And
problem.
then are we gonna get a copy of the PowerPoint that you shared today?
Yes, it takes a couple hours for me to get the link. Once I get the
Which one's
recording,
for
I'll
me?
send that through to everyone who registered. So you won't have to follow up.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Have a good rest of your day. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too. Would it be helpful for the few of you still on the call for me to take a quick tour of the website? Just give me a thumbs up if you want. Otherwise, no worries. You're free to go.
I actually just had a question. I'm a senior. I transferred was it last year
Okay.
from a community college.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a lot of my senior classes. I have like my senior design class. I kind of came here just for the information, but I feel like would there not be as much opportunity, you think, for a senior just because of the kind of classes I'm taking?
Yeah, it's a good question, and in your case, if you're engineering, I want to be realistic with you. It probably would be difficult, but it's worth having a conversation. So I might say, first, meet with your advisor to see what classes you have to take, what they recommend. If I'm imagining you probably don't, but if you have any electives, then there might be an opportunity. If not, then find out what remaining coursework you have to do and then come meet with us and we can help you take a look to see if we can find any program. It's going to be a challenge, but not impossible. So I'd say it's worth looking into.
Okay, thank you. Also, if instead I wanted to look specifically at like abroad internships, would this office still be the same office that I go to for that?
It would if you want to do one of our internship programs. Meaning if you want to work with a partner who finds you the internship. If you wanted to just kind of find your own, career services office might be a good resource. But yeah, if you want to do kind of a credit bearing international internship, then absolutely you can come meet with us and we could help you find that. I would still advise you to maybe check in with your engineering advisor, because a good question to ask is, can I get academic credit if I do an internship? That's not required, but if you're going to do one, it would be beneficial to know if you could get it to count for something, if that makes sense, right?
Gotcha. Okay. So it's either way, it sounds like my academic advisor would be a good first stop.
Yep. And then regardless of what they say, come see us. Again, they might say, no, we don't think you can fit it in. And that's valuable to know. We can then kind of take that and look. Otherwise, they might say, yeah, you can go abroad if you can find this class, and that's really helpful to us. Or even if they say you can do an internship, but it won't count for anything. If you're willing to still do it just for the experience, because it's a valuable experience, then you're still eligible to participate. Noah, are you set to graduate at the end of spring?
I'm set to graduate at the end of December next year.
Oh, good. Okay, that gives us a little bit more time to work with. Okay, cool. Well, I was just gonna say if it was spring, some students do still participate in summer study abroad, but you don't have to worry about that since you'll be around for through next December. I'm gonna guess that next summer might be your best bet, but again, just double check with your advisor.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too. All right, and then Blairda, is it? Did you have any questions?
Yeah, I did actually. I was just waiting. Sorry if I'm taking up more of your time,
You're
but it was
fine.
a quick question.
Yeah.
I was wondering when it comes to multiple programs, so say you find multiple of interest, like for me, I was looking into some summer internship abroad programs. And I spoke with Crystal already about it. And she told me that you have to apply through, so you go through the UIC website and then it like redirects you to their website. And then on that website, did I cut out?
No, I hear you. You're good.
Oh, okay. And then on their website, they'll have like multiple opportunities in different places. So I was wondering, can you apply to multiple? And then how would that look like? Because you would have to apply on their website and then also through UIC, I believe.
Yeah. So I think we probably would want to avoid you applying to multiple programs unless sometimes there are some competitive programs, although I'd say on the whole, most programs aren't that limited. There's some partners who are smaller. So find the first step to not confuse would just be find the programs you're interested in. Try and narrow it down maybe to 3 or so. That's like a manageable number. And then you could ask,
Okay.
are any of these like super competitive? And if they say yes, then we can talk about kind of how a backup plan would work. But
Okay.
usually if
Mhm.
it's not a competitive program, if you apply to it and you meet the eligibility criteria, you're going to get in.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just looking at some of them and I was like, maybe that's the thing though. I don't know how competitive they are. So maybe I'll just make another appointment and talk with
Yeah,
the advisor for those countries.
make your interest list, and then we
Mhm.
can go through that. And like, yeah, these two programs are not competitive, so you'll be fine. You don't need to apply
Okay.
to one. Or if you pick one of these, we might say, all right, we're gonna have you start this application and this one just in case. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks for being here. You have a great weekend.
No, thank you for your time. You as well.
All right, bye.
Bye.